Welcome to Dr. Roger and Friends, the bright side of longevity, hosted by 3 Ps in a podcast, Doc Roger, Teresa, and Danielle. Thanks for joining us for coffee and conversation. Made by Mortals, located in Greater Manchester in the UK, bring people's experience to life through music theatre shows, films, workshops, and more recently, podcasts. Armchair Adventures is a podcast that takes you on a journey of the imagination. Each adventure is inspired by people's experience, knowledge, and passions, and expressed through drama, music, movement, and song. They believe that imagination can set you free. They also believe that creativity can help improve well-being, helping people stay happy and healthy. It is their mission to build connections between generations, and through Armchair Adventures, help people listen to, make, and perform original music theater and share it with children. Armchair Adventures is made by a group of older adults living in their community, in collaboration with professional artists, and produced by Made by Mortals. Welcome, everybody, to Doc Roger and Friends, the bright side of longevity, and we are so excited about today's episode. We are joined by several people from Armchair Adventures, and they're a theater group that is doing some pretty remarkable stuff. And we actually discovered Made by Mortals, who produces Armchair Adventures, thanks to the Pod 20, where you were interviewed by Graham Mack, so I'm happy that we got connected through his podcast. Thank you so much for being here today. So I'd really like to go around and have everybody introduce themselves and what your role is with Armchair Adventures and Made by Mortals. Andy, since you and I are the ones that connected first, can we start with you?
Yeah, sure. So my name's Andy Smith. I'm director of Made by Mortals. I'm a musician, a composer, and I work with some of the older people in our community in Greater Manchester in the UK to create this project and podcast called Armchair Adventures, which is a journey of the imagination.
Thank you. And Keith and Ann.
Right. Well, you first.
We're part of the group, probably one of the older people actually in the group. What we do is we feed information to Andy, like a brainstorming thing. Andy comes up with a subject, and then we throw in ideas, and we sort of develop a show around that. And then Andy puts the music to it and the words to it, and we move from there. You saying?
Right. My name's Anne Openshaw. Me and Keith have been together 55 years, so we know one another pretty much.
Unfortunately.
No, we shouldn't. Anyway, but this has really, in COVID, this has really been good because it keeps your mind active, and otherwise, you're just locked, because Keith has a condition where we've been locked in, all the time, so it's not good.
No.
Thank you. So glad you're here. So Lynda Kent.
Yeah, hi, I'm Lynda Kent. I'm probably one of the newer members of the group. I joined probably just a couple of months before lockdown happened. I was at the theatre for another purpose, and Paul, the other director, came running after me and said, excuse me, do you act? And I said, well, yeah, I've acted and directed in amateur theatre. And he said, oh, right, good, you can come and join our group. I was slightly offended that he only asked me if I could act and not if I was actually over 55, but there you go. So, yeah, I'm one of the newer members. I've contributed, just as everybody else has, to various of these Armchair Adventures, which we've launched 3 now, haven't we? We're going to be launching the 4th one quite soon. So it's exciting.
Yeah.
And the other Lynda, Lynda W. I don't know your last name.
Hi, I'm Lynda Wardhead. I joined Hearts and Minds through primary school. I was a grandparent who was invited to come and try out a workshop involving grandparents and children at the school. So I went along, and I enjoyed it so much that Andy and Paul said, "Come along if you want to do." So I found the little theatre, and used to go on the train before lockdown every Thursday. And I'd probably say, what do I bring to the group? I probably talk a lot. I have to be shut up a bit. And I like to sing, although not always in key. But, so we all have experiences, different experiences. We're all different ages, even though we're the more generous numerical side of life. But we're generous with our time, and Andy and Paul bring out the best in us, I think. And we have so much fun and so many laughs. And we love working with children. I used to be a teacher, so I love that aspect of it particularly. I think it's great. Yeah.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you on this podcast. This is, as you all know, we've all been going through this together as humans. Very dark time, and our physical bodies have been pretty much imprisoned and locked down. That's a good term for what it kind of describes what we're all going through. And but that doesn't mean our minds have to be captured, right? And obviously you didn't feel that way. So, Andy, I guess this first question is for you. So how did Armchair Adventures really begin?
Well, like I say, we met up as a group prior to COVID. We've existed for a long time, and we used to go out doing these theatre shows, making them from scratch in the theatre over weekly workshops, and then touring them to local schools. And as soon as COVID happened and we realized that we couldn't meet face to face, it was just absolutely essential that we kept the group running online. So we have a number of participants that join us like this on a Zoom call, but we also have some people that are unable to join on Zoom. Perhaps they don't have the internet or they don't have access to certain devices. So we have paid for a free phone number through Zoom as well, and they can join in through the sessions over the phone. And at first it was all about just keeping the group connected, keeping them moving, keeping their minds active, like you say. And then we started to explore the concept of podcasts and how to create immersive, interactive music theatre podcasts. And that's what we've done with Armchair Adventures. We take a participant's experience or hobby or pastime, something that they were missing during lockdown, and then said, well, we can't do that now, but we can do that through our imaginations. So Lynda Wardhead, who's the kind of main character in the first episode of Armchair Adventures, she was talking about missing her long walks, going into the countryside near to where she lives, and she couldn't do that because she was shielding a partner. And through immersive sound design and really creative script writing and the participants using their imaginations, we go on this magical treetop walk, and we invite the listener to come with us. And like I say, through sound design and music and script writing, you go on this magical imaginative journey.
Feel the excitement. I feel it, and I'm sure that your listeners and those that you reach do. Yes, Danielle.
I was going to say, I have the Armchair Adventure theme songs been going through my head all morning. I love their sound effects and how immersive. It's not really just for kids, and we'll get into that, but I mean, it's for anybody. It's just so much fun.
And the ethos of the group is that it's not myself and other professional artists coming in and making this music for the group to perform. They are the makers of it. So that theme tune, for example, I mean, you can see that the keyboards here, that was born about because we said, well, what's Armchair Adventures going to be about? And somebody will have said, well, it makes your imagination fly. So that became the lyric to the song. And then I will kind of mess around on the keyboard with some chords and say, can anyone sing that? Imaginations fly to what I'm playing. And then somebody would come up, imaginations fly. I'm like, right, that's going in. And then bit by bit, that's how we did it, like over Zoom. I mean, everything Armchair Adventures, we've not met for nearly a year now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a physician, and I'm here to help people. But I feel I haven't been doing all that much lately. But you folks, you're doing magnificent things. I can tell you, for the mind, for the heart, for the body. So congratulations.
So Andy, the original audience, if I'm following correctly, was children. You were going into classrooms, and now your audience has expanded. Is that right?
Yeah. So I guess you could say that the initial audience, if you like, are older people because they're the people that make the work. So we're lucky enough to get funding from a national lottery here and the Arts Council in the UK, and they kind of fund our weekly workshops with older people. So week after week, we make this work up with them, and also in Armchair Adventures. Yes, so that's how it works to begin with, and then that would be the unique thing about Hearts and Minds is that it's older people creating work for children. So then the secondary audience, if you like, is the children, because they're the ones that listen to the podcast and engage with it. But we found, like Danielle said, that anybody can listen to this podcast and enjoy it. Families listening together, grandparents and their children listening to it during lockdown. And more recently, we've had carers and activity coordinators in care homes learning activities in the podcast. We created an activity pack to go with it, so that they're now doing the movement activities and the lyric writing activities and the singing in their care homes. So from our little meetups every week, it's really grown into something special.
Makes me wonder who benefits more.
It's very selfish of you, all of what you're doing. So what's it like to for the children that you normally reach, but older adults also, what's it like, because we know that music, now that we can scan brains and things, we know how music can excite the brain and can cause wonderful feelings and physiologic things to happen, as well as the arts and things. What's it like when you see that response in your audience, in the children or older adults? I mean, that's got to be something for you.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, particularly with children, they want to sing along with you. In fact, they do. They learn the tunes very quickly.
As Keith says, the children are absolutely fantastic because they dance about, they move to the, when they're prompted in the podcast, and they also have the chat facility, which, kids are great with technology, and they bring the most wonderful ideas into the chat, because sometimes we have maybe 100 participants when we, sort of podcasting with schools, like we did at the launch this week. And they put in amazing ideas, and Andy might fill us in with this later. But the recent podcast we've launched about the bubble adventure, we've opened to children to sort of do a picture, didn't we, Andy, of their ideas, because some of the ideas they were bringing into the chat about the Northern Lights and their experiences and the feelings were absolutely poetic. They were absolutely marvelous. It makes us feel good. It's a reciprocal thing. You make one person feel good, they make you feel good. It just keeps going. It's wonderful.
That's right. So at the moment, we can't go into schools. Obviously, we can't even meet up as a group. So we were thinking of ways of how to engage with younger people other than just kind of shouting about it in social media and other promotional ways. So we used our kind of newfound digital skills to do big online workshops to hundreds and hundreds of children. So we have some children that are home learning with their parents, and we have some children that are in school bubbles. Perhaps their parents are key workers, doctors and nurses, for example, so they're allowed into school. So we launch each new episode with one of these like online mass school workshops where we play the podcast but stop it at certain points, and some of the members of the Hearts and Minds, the makers, join us for that as well, and it just helps everyone to feel connected. Again, we're kind of inspiring the mind, getting people moving, using their imaginations, and just feeling connected.
Could you tell us a little bit about Hearts and Minds before, just for people who maybe don't know that term?
Yeah, sure. So Hearts and Minds are the group behind Armchair Adventures. They're a group of over 55s. Majority of them are in their 70s, a few in the 60s, maybe one in the late 50s. And they create original music theatre for children. And Armchair Adventures is the project that they've been working on and creating since COVID hit back in March 2020.
I'm going to put you on the spot, and I'll let you go, but I'm going to give them a minute. I would love very much, and I know you can do this, but it is a surprise. If you could give us 2 to 3 minutes of a sample of what you do.
We can do that. We do like one of our warm-ups, for example. So we might say, we always start like any kind of musician or actor. It's really important to warm up your voice and your body, just like you would do if you were a sportsman. So it's in the morning for some of you there, even though it's early evening for us here. But we imagine we're all in the morning, and we're going to have a big stretch and a big yawn first of all. So after 3, big stretch and a big yawn. 1, 2, 3. No, it's bigger and stretchier and yawnier than that. 1, 2, 3. Very, very good. Right, and now what we're going to do is you're going to imagine that you've got a piece of tissue paper stuck to your right hand, and you're going to give it a shake. So give it a shake. Give it a shake off. That's it. Shake it up there. Shake it down there. Shake it all the way around. It's not coming off. So you have to get your other hand involved. Try and pull it off. Pull it off. Oh, it's stuck to your other hand. Give it a shake. Give it a shake. Give it a shake down there. Give it a shake up there. Give it a shake all the way around. It's not coming off. So you get your foot involved. Try and get it to your foot. It's stuck to your foot. It's stuck to your foot. Shake your foot. Shake your foot. Shake your foot. All the way around. It's stuck to your other foot. Get your other foot involved. Give it a shake. Give it a shake. You flick it up. It's stuck to your nose. Give your nose a shake. That's it. Give your nose a shake. Flick it up off your nose. It's stuck to your chin. Give your chin a shake. Right, one more flick. It's stuck to your bum. Give your bum a shake. And the wind catches it, so to speak. Can you wave bye-bye to the tissue? Bye-bye.
Fantastic. I feel better already.
And it's all a bit silly to begin with. You know, these warm-ups, they're all imaginative, using connecting with our bodies and getting all the troubles out of our head and just into the right frame of mind to do something creative. And then we might start thinking about our characters or the topic of the next Armchair Adventure, and then start making it.
Superb. Thank you, Andy. That's just wonderful. And the team.
I think before we do our next podcast, guys, we should do a warm-up like that. That should just become part of our routine. Loosen us up before we do a show.
I think you're right, Danielle. You know, we'll get the cobwebs out, so to speak, you know.
So I have a question for the group. Anyone or all can answer, but what's the best part for you personally? What do you enjoy most about this, or what show, or anything you want to share?
I think one of the big things is meeting all the people that we've used to meet face to face before, and now we can meet with them, and it's really good. That's a nice feeling.
I think working with Andy and Paul, the younger people, so they bring sort of I don't know, it lifts your spirits.
Yeah, they go.
I think it's sort of everything that Keith and Anne have said, and everything you've all said, and more. I don't know if somebody mentioned, it was something that Ronnie, one of our group members, said this morning. We were looking at experiences, because our next adventure will be with Anne and Keith, and it's about a music festival. And Ronnie, one of the group, he said he's not very good with words and explaining things, but he just hit the nail on the head. He said, I can listen to a piece of music that reminds me of when I was younger, and it makes me feel young. I thought, absolutely, that's it. And that's what this does. Yes, we're working with Andy and Paul, who sort of, without their skills, you know, we wouldn't gel as a Hearts and Minds theatre workshop. But our experiences they tap into those things that make us feel not degenerating, but regenerating.
There you go.
know? And what you were saying about the brain is so important, because your mind has to keep active, but it has to keep active in conjunction with your body. So the mind and the body and everything has to work together. And then you'll get that, that regeneration and that sort of, yes, we may be an aged number, higher number, but all our experiences and all the things we do every day can help keep us in that frame of mind where we can do, and we are still young in a lot of ways, in many, many ways. And that's a great thing.
Well, thank you, Dr. Lynda. You're right on message, and you're right on. I can tell you, absolutely. Lynda, the other Lynda, we understand that you're relatively new to the group. What has it meant for you to join this group?
Well, I didn't really go into any of the schools, because I joined just as a couple of months before, and I did a little bit of work on one project that was due to go into schools, but lockdown happened before that. So my experience with the group has mainly been the Zoom meetings and so on. And I just find it really lifts the day for me. I work as a carer, and Thursday, when I joined the care organisation, I said, no, Thursday has to be my day off, because that's our regular Zoom meeting day. And it really does lift my spirits, and it makes me appreciate what I've got, even in these difficult circumstances. And I think it's the fact that potentially we're making a difference somewhere out there through the internet. Yes, not through face-to-face meetings at the moment, but we're still able to connect with other people and connect with younger generation as well. I think it's brilliant.
But I actually have a question about the activity pack. So beyond even this podcast, people can, say, download a pack on your website, and can they work with, say, their grandkids and get on a call? Like, how do they function?
That's right. So Armchair Adventures was originally just going to be a podcast, but like we said earlier, we realised that there was opportunity to go into schools over Zoom and do everything digitally, so we could still offer kind of Armchair Adventures themed workshops. So we're delivering those to care homes directly, to schools and to the general public. And then we also decided to make an activity pack, which means that people at home, grandparents with their grandchildren, or people that were in isolation on their own, or people that work with older people in care homes could download this activity pack for free and go through the processes of some lyric writing activities, movement activities, music making activities, and create their own armchair adventure. And it's totally free. You can download it off our website, and it comes with bespoke written music to inspire your armchair adventure. And people are using it no matter what age they are. And like I say, it's all about a journey of the imagination, and we've all got one of those, whether we're a kindergarten kid or right the way up to the oldest person in society.
Andy, what is your website? Tell us so that folks can
yeah, sure. So it's www.madebyMortals.org, and if you just click on the Armchair Adventures tab, you'll find all the information and be able to listen to the podcast and download the activity pack there. We'd love to see what you get up to as well. So if anybody in the States does happen to download it and have a go at some of the activities, please do contact us, email us, let us know how you get on, and we'll share it on all our socials.
Yeah. Well, I hope we can make that happen. Well, team, I live in New England, in Massachusetts, and in Boston, around there, and we're reminded every day, because of the architecture, our history, everything, that indeed you are the motherland. we all kind of came from there, at least most of us, and I can see that you gave us our court system and so many things, but you're giving us something here. This is so critically important in this time. We still The vaccine is going to be a way out, but I still think we have many months ahead of us. And I think we're going to learn a lot of lessons from this about the dangers of isolation and the dangers of not stimulating our minds and our bodies. And I think what you're doing is going to be a very vivid reminder that this is very important as we age, and no matter what our age. And so I can't thank you enough. I think that it is marvelous how you have let your imaginations free and come up with this idea, and well done.
Can I just ask something from our perspective here in the UK? We have the National Health Service, and we do have something called social prescribing, which is in its infancy, but it's rather than having medication, that social prescribing is sort of maybe trying to tailor make it to an individual's needs. So, for example, if you have anxiety, looking at things that socially that you could do to ease that, whether it be something you enjoy like gardening or walking. Do you have anything like that in the US?
We don't, and we should. And our medical is so different and falls short in my mind. I'm a preventive medicine physician. You have a ministry of loneliness too, don't you?
Yeah,
we do. You have a minister of loneliness, and because for good reason. As a National Health Service, you look at your population and keeping the whole population healthy, and it's to your advantage to be preventive. Less cost, and so I'm not surprised. But I think Ireland and Canada have joined you with that kind of position to deal with this. We have not, and that is a lack on our part, and I think we're going to learn perhaps from this pandemic that this is so critically important to health care, quality of life, the whole business. And so you're teaching us something, and we're not going to forget it.
What Lynda says about that model is quite important to how we work as well, because we have had some members of the community come to our group through social prescribing. So like Lynda says, instead of their GP prescribing them medication, perhaps they are prescribed to come to the theatre group, which might sound a bit crazy to some people, but we do genuinely see the improvements in people's health and well-being, in their mindfulness, in their mood. And then going back to what Lynda also said about the kind of reciprocal relationships, that's all about, that's everything what Made by Mortals tried to do in our work. We try and co-produce everything. So the hearts and minds may make this theatre show and improve their own health and well-being, meeting up every week, but then they go and perform it at the school, who get high quality art and up their cultural capital, if you like, through accessing our art. And then the teachers might get an activity pack which might give them some kind of teacher training, or you see what I mean? There's this kind of whole co-production. Commissioners to do that, but they don't just kind of pay their money and then become passive consumers. They then get a workshop, and then they get to hear the voices of the people who made it and learn from their lived experience for how they can change their policies and their strategies as they go forwards. Hope that makes sense.
It does. It makes great sense. And I know our teachers are struggling to teach and to keep children stimulated. And so with this podcast, I'm hoping maybe we can reach into some schools who might take advantage of what you offer. You could deliver, right? Even though the kids may think you talk a little funny.
We could. We'd absolutely love to do an armchair adventure with some of the people you work with, whether at school kids or some of the older people that you work with. I mean, amazing armchair adventure, like a.
Well, that too. We have an in with some senior living communities, and I think we should do a pilot. Don't you think, team?
Yeah, what we're doing at the moment is we have our kind of Hearts and Minds group that created Armchair Adventures, and they're making episode after episode, month after month, and that's getting released. But we're now speaking to other communities and other groups of people who are interested in creating their own armchair adventure and adding their episode to the repertoire, to the series, if you like. So, for example, we were approached by an Army veterans group who wanted to create an armchair adventure. So we're starting work with them, and we're meeting them every week for 9 or 10 weeks, going through the whole process like we do with our Hearts and Minds group, creating a new episode based on the experiences and the hobbies and the pastimes of these Army veterans. And watch out for that. That'll be released in, I guess, May, June time.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, as I say, my experience through this group is mainly Zoom. But I can see that there's so much potential with Zoom, with the internet, to reach out globally. We're not limited to our local area like we would have been in the old days, as it were, pre-lockdown. So I think it's a great opportunity, as well as being obviously a stressful time, but it provides us with new opportunities as well.
Well, I feel better. And I'm sure that those you reach out to do also. I thank you for what you're doing. I applaud your creativity in pivoting to this pandemic, because I know you loved what you did to people in person, and you missed that. But the ability to pivot and be able to bring your skills to bear to make people better, that is more than admirable, and kudos to you all.
You've been listening to Dr. Roger and Friends, The Bright Side of Longevity. If you like the show, please rate and review, and be sure to click to follow.